Hey, what is going on, everyone? So I promised to make a build video for my hunter, and you guys wanted to have a build video for the solar warlock that I played on stream yesterday. So yeah, let's start with the hunter build here. First things first, I use Vengeful Viscera now instead of Raconteer, just because it's a strand bow and I'm using a strand subclass, specifically so that I can use Harmonic Loader, so that I can use a 3 cost mod here, and then still use impact induction and heavy-handed at the same time. Previously, I'm not able to do this because the loader mod for stasis or any other energy costs 3. The ideal roll that I would want here is a 5-7-6 roll with hipfire grip or archer's tempo with offhand strike. Obviously, I don't have one right now. And obviously, with Oathkeepers, it lowers it down from 576 to 540. For the glaive here, I tried to change over to Greasy Luck, which felt really good. And then I swapped back to Judgment of Kelgrath just so I can get my abilities faster inside of trials. I tried Wellspring, but honestly, I don't think it's worth it. So if you have the old version of this build, and if you have Impulse Amplifier on it, I think it's still the best option. Now for the subclass, I don't think I changed anything, but for the sake of this video, I want to make it complete, right? So I can just send it to someone and be like, hey, this is my build. I'm using Silk Strike with Marksman Dodge so that I have the fastest base cooldown. Or the faster, I guess. Strafe Jump, the best one here. Threaded Spike, obviously the only one I can have, and it's really good. You can do a headshot with a bow and then a Threaded Spike. Grapple, obviously the best one here for movement. Widow Silk, so you can have double grapple, and then Ensnaring Slam, just to follow it up after the grapple. This is actually really important because you can actually proc Reaper and Powerful Attraction at the same time. For the fragments, I have the most important one, Thread of Ascent, which increases your handling by plus 40 and airborne effectiveness by around plus 30-ish, I think. And I also have Thread of Transmutation. While you have Woven Mail, Weapon Thunder Blows create a tangle. You can Woven Mail very easily with this build, and I'll show you how later in the armor section. And then I have Thread of Generation. Not sure if this is worth it, but dealing damage generates grenade energy. This is not something that you can see happen, but I'm pretty sure like over the course of an entire game, this would help you. Threat of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants you Woven Mail. So yeah, this is like the main or the only way that you can gain Woven Mail on Hunter, if I'm not mistaken. Unless you're using like the Helmet exotic, which I'm not going to be using because I don't think it's worth it. Let's move on to the armor here. I've changed a lot of the armor so that I can use Harmonic mod. For the helmet here, I have double Harmonic targeting plus a hands-on so that I can get my super faster. Inside of Trials, this doesn't really matter. So you can have like triple Harmonic if you want. But I don't find triple stacking Harmonic mod to be that beneficial. So for example, I have 1 targeting here, I only get 5 aim assists. With 2, I get 8 aim assists. And with 3, I get 10. So obviously the difference between 2 and 3 is only like plus 2 aim assists. And I'd rather have hands-on here. For the arms, we've talked about this. You want heavy-handed. This works with your grapple melee. And basically, if you guys watch any of my videos on me playing this build, you go grapple grenade, hit someone with the bow, and then hit someone with, and then follow it up very quickly with the grapple melee. This will spawn an orb that you pick up immediately, and if you don't, you can proc Ensnaring Slam to proc Powerful Attraction, which provides you with healing from recuperation and also Woven Mail on top of that. You don't want to use Better Already, and the reason because when you actually get kills using either heavy-handed or Reaper, you're within enemy lines, therefore they're not going to stop shooting at you, right? So after you get shot, you're better already, just stop right there and then. And since this is a very aggressive build, you want the 70 health that you get immediately from recuperation instead of the health regeneration. And then I also have Impact Induction so that my melee would recharge my grenade cooldown. This works with your grapple melee. So when you're using the grapple, you can actually recharge the grapple itself by using the grapple melee. And it also works with your threaded spike, obviously. And then the loader, as we've talked about before. And then moving on to the chest plate, we have double unflinching harmonic aim for the bow. And then I have Font of Endurance. I'm just testing this out. I don't know if this is actually that good, but after I pick up an orb, I have plus 30 resilience. So technically, I'm at 60 resilience here whenever this procs, which is whenever I get a kill with my melee or if I get a kill in the air and instantly Ensnaring Slam. And I'll talk about that later. And then moving on to the leg armor mod, the most important one here is recuperation, giving you 70 health every time you pick up an orb. Absolution for ability cooldown regen, really important also. And then solar holster for your glaive. In trials, I don't think you need this, so you can use something like Orbs of Restoration. But this build, I don't really want to change my mods around every single time. So it's just good for like every game mode. I try to make it as good as possible for every game mode. So every mod that you see is optimized for both 6s and 3v3. For the cloak, I'm using both Reaper and Powerful Attraction. The interaction between these two is that when you hit someone with the bow, you peek them again, right? And you hit them again with the bow and then instantly Ensnaring Slam. What that does is that you can activate Reaper. You will spawn the orb first before that AoE effect could reach the enemy, right? So when the enemy spawns an orb, you can pick it up right away, giving you health from recuperation and also giving you Woven Mail. And then I also have Bomber here just to get my grapple. So yeah, that's the entirety of the Hunter build. I don't think I missed anything here. The only thing, I mean, there are a couple of artifact mods that you can take advantage of, like Unraveling Orbs, but I don't think it really matters for this build. So yeah, that's basically it. I think there is a version that I use here with Frosty's, pretty much the same thing. I'm just testing it out. So yeah, that's the updated Hunter build. All right, this is the Warlock build that you guys have been asking. The old one stays the same, pretty much. But this new one focuses on a Restoration ×2, Heat Rises. So in this version of the build, the fragments are going to be Ember of Ashes, so I can apply more Scorch. I have Ember of Searing, so that whenever I defeat a target that is Scorched, I can get 20% of my melee energy back and create a Fire Sprite, which regenerates my grenade back. I also have Ember Empyrean, so that whenever I have Restoration or Radiant, if I get a kill using my solar weapon or my solar abilities, I will extend that duration by +4 seconds. And then I have Ember of Solace, which increases the duration of Restoration that I get from Phoenix Dive while Heat Rises is active from 3 seconds to 4.5 seconds. So this is a really cool technique that you can do, which is often used inside of PvE. I'm sure everybody knows this. But when you Phoenix Dive right after a kill, you know how your Restoration only lasts for around, 4.5 seconds with Ember of Solace. You can follow it up with Ember of Empyrean, allowing you to get like around a 7.5 to 8 seconds worth of Restoration ×2 inside of PvP. So again, the gameplay loop here is that you consume your grenade, go really fast, and then once you reach your target, you either bow, follow it up with a snap, and then Phoenix Dive. This allows them to explode, right, from the montage that I showed yesterday, and then you get Restoration ×2 for like 8 seconds, or you bow them from a range, and then you bow them again, follow it up with a Phoenix Dive. So yeah, a lot of healing from this build. And then if you keep getting kills, sorry for the Discord tag, but if you keep getting kills, it'll extend the duration by +4 seconds every single time. And it doesn't have to be a weapon kill. It can also be an ability kill. It can be the ignition kill that you can get from Snap plus Phoenix Dive, because you are using Ember of Ashes. And since you are using Ember of Ashes, it's ideal that you are using a bow with Incandescent. If I have the ideal role for Priastania, I would be using this over Strand Up Whistle. Because what you can do with Priastania is that you can use Incandescent and Wildcard at the same time. So if you tag someone, they will get damage. Over time, allowing you to see them through walls. And then you can ricochet your grenade launcher through walls because you know exactly where they are. And then if they try to res their teammate while being scorched, they can get hit again with the Wildcard. You know, they're getting damaged by all these sources, allowing you to maybe like one-shot body or one-shot headshot them whenever they peek the next time before fully healing themselves. And on top of that, since you are dealing damage indirectly using the weapon from Incandescent and Wildcard, you can probably try something like Perfect Float, which is a perk that provides you with 30 airborne effectiveness and 30% flinch resist for being in combat for 6 seconds. So theoretically speaking, I think I can proc Perfect Float through Incandescent and Wildcard. And that could be a fun combo that I would use. I don't think it's that good. If I'm being honest, I think it's better to use Perpetual Motion or Archer's Tempo here. But I really, really want to try that out. And if you're wondering, Shoot to Loot, no, it does not work with Incandescent. And Arcane just say hi to me here. Grenade Launcher, still the same, sideways auto-loading holster. Just a broken perk on a grenade launcher. I will never replace this grenade launcher. This grenade launcher is extremely powerful. Proxy nade, sideways auto-loading holster, that's all you need. I have 90 blast radius. The more you have, the better. Obviously, I can put in blast radius adept to get 100, but I don't think I need to. So I just value the quick access thing over it. Subclass, I'm using Wealth Radiance for trials. In 6s, you can use Daybreak, which is really powerful, by the way. What you can do with this is that you can pop Firebolt Grenade to gain Heat Rises in your super. And since Daybreak allows you to infinitely Phoenix Dive, you can grant yourself Restoration ×2 and Cure ×3 whenever you want. But what you can do is shoot the projectile and immediately Phoenix Dive down. Your projectile is an ability damage, so you can extend it through Ember of Empyrean. So if you're on a Daybreak and your Daybreak runs out, you can have like a 15 seconds Restoration ×2 after that if you get like a couple kills. So that's really, it's an interaction that is really cool inside of PvP. Obviously, you need the super first, but again, Well of Radiance just overall a lot better inside of Trials because it's permanently Dominion, and you kind of always need Well of Radiance. I didn't talk about the aspects here, but it should be like a given that I always use Icarus Dash. And since I have Heat Rises and this build relies on Heat Rises a lot, you gain double Icarus Dash while you're within Heat Rises. So let's go to EDZ here so I can demonstrate what I mean by double Icarus Dash with Strafe Glide. So let me just consume my Heat Rises here. Show you how fast it is. So Snap Skate and then double Icarus Dash. And then after that, what you can do is just keep tapping jump, right? If you keep tapping your jump button, you will maintain that speed over and over again. So yeah, the armor, pretty much the same thing. I'm not using triple harmonic anymore. Or did I even use triple harmonic back in the day? But I don't know. It's the same as the Hunter one, just double harmonic targeting for the bow and then hands-on to get my super faster. On the arms, literally the same thing on the Hunter one. I have heavy-handed, impact induction, causing damage with your power melee, reduces your grenade cooldown, and then harmonic for the bow. And again, with heavy-handed here, what you can do is I would hit a target for 100 damage inside of PvP, and if they go close enough, I would use my melee. So when that happens, I would do this, that, and then this. If the melee kills them, it will spawn an orb through heavy-handed, and then my dive, my Phoenix Dive, will proc Powerful Attraction. So then I can get healed again using the recuperation mod and gain a couple of ability regen, which I'm going to talk about later. So yeah, pretty much the same gameplay loop because you are playing in the air a lot. Moving on to the armor, I'm using Font of Endurance again. So the same thing with the Hunter one, just 60 Rezel, but on Disguise and double Unflinching Harmonic. Moving on to the leg, same thing with the Hunter, I'm using Recuperation and Absolution. But this time, since I'm using a grenade launcher with auto-loading holster, I'm using Orbs of Restoration because I don't need holster mods. This will allow me to gain a little bit more ability regen after I pick up an orb. And for the class item, the same exact thing. Reaper with Bomber with Powerful Attraction. And you can do the same thing with Reaper and Powerful Attraction, both with the Insane Slam combo that I explained earlier and the Phoenix Dive. So when you get a kill, Phoenix Dive, it'll proc Reaper and instantly pick it up. And finally, the stats. Still the same stats. I sacrificed 20 strength for this new stat line because my old one, this build, it provides me with 3 copies, or this one provides me with plus 30 to stat just because I'm running the Ignition package. But with the new version, obviously I need to bring that down a little bit because I am running something that doesn't provide me with any stat and something that decreases my stat. So that's the reason why my strength is a little bit lower, but it doesn't matter because with this build, you spend like 90% of your playtime in the air. And because of that, you always proc Heat Rises passive ability that allows you to regenerate 50% of your melee energy back whenever you get a kill. And whenever you get a kill and then since you also have Ember of Searing, every time you get a kill on someone that is Scorched, you get 20% of your melee back. So your melee is pretty much 100% uptime if you play this build perfectly. And yeah, that should be it. That should be everything, right? So if you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Obviously, the reason I use Ophidians is because of the reload speed and handling, which is one of the rare instances where I would actually use Fiberglass over Compact Aershaft. I would actually use it on Pre-Astonia. So if I do have a God Roll Pre-Astonia, I would be using Fiberglass, Elastic, Draw Time, probably Perfect Float, Incandescent, Wildcard, and a Adept Draw Time just to match the draw time that I have on Hunter. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.